Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Ha! So, do we got a series on our hands? Not just yet. Not just yet. Quick answer to a question. But the Dallas Mavericks, at least for one game, got back into the NBA Finals series where they put a beat down, a mollywop on the Boston Celtics. Look, they won by 38 points. We don't even need to talk about the score, but what we really need to talk about, and that everyone is going to be talking about, is Luka Doncic, right? Luka Doncic, and then I'll touch, on the Mavs. So what I saw from this and what I love, from this, and I've talked about this before, maybe not even on the show, maybe just talking to someone in general, but it is that process, right? That process that Luka is going through. So obviously what we saw in game 3 was not what we expected from Luka. Game 4 was a totally different performance. I saw Luka who was engaged. I saw Luka who and what's the word I'm looking for? Engaged is right, but applied, right? Applied himself. Now look, Jason Kidd talked about this, and he has an excellent point on what he's talking about as far as Luka and the type of talent that he has. He pointed out that Luka is not going to be a shutdown defender, nor does he need to be, right? And Jason Kidd mentioned that to make a point. Like, okay, let's not get beyond ourselves, okay? What they need Luka to be, though, is that at times we have saw that at times those blow-bys and everything that Luka kind of just let that go. In the NBA Finals, you can get away with that stuff in the regular season, but in the NBA Finals, especially against a team like the Boston Celtics, you're not going to be able to do that. That's going to make you pay. So you have to make the adjustments, and that's exactly what he did. One of the things that he did most was he stopped talking with the refs, right? Because it's not going to help. It didn't help his case out in game 3, but in game 4, it allowed him to be more engaged, into that game. Not get distracted. Yes, in game 3, he was some fouls that should have been called that didn't. It didn't happen, but Jason Tatum was getting fouled as well. So in game 4, that was a difference in there. But I like from Luka as well is that, to me, he was a little bit more aggressive going to the basket, and I could be wrong, on that. But I just like, hey, I'm sure someone talked with him. I'm sure somebody he respected talked to him. And this is the process. This is what he's going to have to learn. This is what they go through. You don't figure everything out, a la the Boston Celtics, because we still think that they're going to win the series, possibly, perhaps, maybe, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But we saw what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown went through 2 years ago, and now they're at this point where they're on the cusp of a final. And then this is what Luka is going through. So I just don't destroy the guy, right? To me, what it says is that Luka is still not a finished product, nor is any NBA, player, but there is still growth there. The guy is 25 years old. I know he played professionally and everything, but this is a different, environment that he's in right now as far as like the NBA Finals. So he's still learning that. He's still going to get better, I expect, and that's the scary part. He's going to get better, and his defense is going to get better. It's going to be, where it is. And we saw a little bit of that in game 4. So I'm happy for him in there. Now, let's talk about this game, right? It's one game, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to put too much into it because it doesn't matter if you win by 2 points or 60 points. It still goes down. Stan Van Gundy talked about that. It goes down as one win, right? So they are still down 3-1, where they are trying to achieve the unachievable that has happened no times. And could the Dallas Mavericks actually pull this off? Now, I'm sticking with my prediction. I said that it was going to go 7 games. I'm going to stick to that. Right? I would love 7 games of this matchup. But I had Boston winning it in 7 games. What I will say, though, that I liked from what happened in game 4 is that they got up out of there. And when I mean I'm talking about the starters. They got up out of that rotation at the end of the 3rd quarter, which they saved themselves a quarter. We've seen before where you have a team who's down 3-0 and then they do everything possible. They exert all this energy because they don't want to get swept, right? They don't want to get swept. But then you exert too much energy and then you come, in the following game, and then pretty much what was going to happen is going to happen. So I think the Mavericks, they got some rest. I think that was big time rest. Even in that game, that game kind of went smoothly for them. So it wasn't just a struggle from the get-go to win this game. So even quarters 1, 2, and 3, I think they did an excellent job, and that saved them some energy. So I expect them to go to Boston and win on the road and make this thing 3-2, and then we're going to start talking about, this is just my thought, I could be wrong, because Boston is going to be sitting here like, look, we're at home. We don't want to go back to Dallas. We're ready to party. We're ready to close this thing out. We smell blood. We need to, repair what we fix the problems that we had, because they were not hitting any shots. And obviously, when you're not hitting any shots, you want to, maybe do something a little bit different than just keep shooting. But that's their game. And it's one game. I'm not going to go into it and thinking that this ultimate comeback is going to happen just as of now. But I do think the Mavs can make this thing serious. I do think that they could put some scare into the Boston Celtics. I do believe that they can go to Boston and win that game. What I saw, though, from Dallas in their role players, which is going to be the biggest, to me, this is just my opinion, to me, this is going to be the biggest difference maker, is that those role players, they're going to have to replicate. And when I'm talking about PJ Washington, I'm talking about Derek Lively, I'm talking about Gafford, I'm talking about Exum, I'm talking about all those role players, Green, that played a vital role in Game 4. That's going to have to happen on the road, which is going to be tough, because now Boston is going to be at home and their role players, which we always talk that role players play better at home. But that is what is going to need to happen for the Mavericks to win this. Luka and Kyrie, and Kyrie got his first win against the Boston Celtics since he left. But Kyrie and Luka, I think they'll be all right. Where it comes into this thing getting really interesting is it's going to have to be those role players. We saw Derek Lively shoot a 3-pointer, right? Let me find out Derek Lively can shoot threes. Why haven't we did that? Where has that been? So I'm still interested in this series. Game 5, I think, will be just as interesting, because look, here's the thing for Dallas. The first 2 games, they were in those games. That's what you tell yourself. We were in those games. We just didn't finish the job, and we could be up 2 games, 3 games, at this point as well. So let's just let the game play itself out. Again, I'm looking for 7 games. I'm a little greedy. I'm sorry, but I am a little greedy. And in Game 5, NBA Finals, it's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. Not over yet.